Hello, Rebel, and welcome back to my life.
We're vlogging from the bed, which means we must have finished another Book of Underrealm. And indeed, the novel Stoneheart, A Book of Underrealm, is done and is releasing in 1 week. Yay! In all honesty, this book has left me far more exhausted than Bloodlust did 2 months ago. Quick point about that. You might very well be thinking, but Garrett, we had one of these videos 2 months ago. Wow, that book really came together fast. But did it? The answer is honestly that no, Stoneheart did not come together super fast. I had already been working on it pretty extensively before Bloodlust released, so the actual time that I've been working on it has been more extensive than it would appear. And also for Stoneheart, I knew so much about the story. I knew how it was going to play out. I knew what the ending was going to be. I knew what the major twist was. This story was very, very solid in my mind before I started working on it. Unlike Bloodlust, which was so all over the place that it, took a year. Which is not to say that Stoneheart did not go through its own trials and tribulations. It's maybe the Book of Underrealm that so far has dealt the most with its queer main character's queerness. In case you haven't read Bloodlust, and if you haven't, then why wouldn't you? The story is about Mag, but it is narrated by Albern, who is really the focus of this second book in the story. It's more of an Albern story than a Mag story. And Albern is a trans man, and as with all of the books of Underrealm, his transness is not the focus of his story, but it does play a much larger role in this narrative than it did previously. And so I solicited quite a lot of help and advice from readers in our community. Particular thanks must go to Oliver, who is a member of the Discord server and just the general Underrealm online spaces. He has been so incredibly helpful in the crafting of this book. Okay, so do you know what the sophomore curse is? I've talked about it a little bit on the channel, but let's have a quick refresher. Generally, the first work in a series, or, the first work of an artist, or let's say a band or something like that, is considered superior to the second work. Partially because the first one usually takes so much longer and it has so much more of the artist's raw passion in it, and some people see that as making it have a greater integrity or whatever. I don't think that's necessarily true, although I do think there's something to be said for the fact that if you work on something for a long period of time, you just tend to have more experiences to put into it. And so the second one can fall flat. But there are, of course, exceptions to the rule. Most people acknowledge that The Empire Strikes Back, for example, is a vastly superior film to Star Wars: A New Hope. And if you go with the theory of the longer you work on something, the better it's going to be, it should be the opposite. Lucas was working on A New Hope for much longer than he worked on The Empire Strikes Back, which was, of course, mostly produced because the studio was like, oh, people really seem to like that Star Wars thing, let's have another one. Anyway, I get nervous saying this, and ultimately it's up to you, the reader, to decide, but I really think we broke the sophomore curse with Stoneheart. I think that it's better than Bloodlust, and I really liked Bloodlust, so yeah, I think that means something. It is available for sale on all major ebook platforms as well as in print. You can order print copies through the link in the description. You can also order ebook copies through the link in the description. But I really hope that you'll consider buying print books directly from me. As always, that is a huge help in my author career. But I do have to give you a warning. This book did go a little bit longer than anticipated, and we're having some issues with our printer. So if you do buy a print book, it is going to be ever so slightly delayed. Sorry about that. We'll try not to have that happen again in the future. And speaking of which, I'm going to give myself a little bit longer to work on the third book in the series, Hellskin. I'm not sure when that's going to release, but it's not going to be before the end of the year. It's going to be early 2018. 2019. Oh God, it's almost 2019. Because as much as I mentioned earlier that I knew what Stoneheart was going to be before I started writing it, it is not the same case with Hellskin. I really know one or two major things about that book, and the rest is all I got to start making it up right now. But Stoneheart is here. It is available for sale. It will be releasing next week. My patrons have already been sent the final copy of the book, and they've been reading it, and some of them have really been liking it. So I think you might too. So let us all join in on this wonderful day of celebration of another book release. Yay! And that is all I've got for you today, Rebel. I'm going to rest today. That's a lie. I'm going to keep working, and I'm going to start cracking on the next book. But in the meanwhile, I have greatly enjoyed talking to you today, and I will talk to you again next Friday. Bye!